Hi guys, and welcome to Angling for You, and today you join me at a lovely little pond called Murphy's Woodside Pond, and it's sort of York way, and we've not fished it before. There's two ponds. One's like a circular pond with an island. This one's, well, it's a bizarre shape, to be honest. There's little gullies and you know, little channels and all sorts coming through, but today we're going to do a little bit of mudline fishing. Fishing at 13 meters. We're going to go through what we look for, how we're fishing it, what's the rig, how we're feeding it. We've had a little look. There's not too much information out there, but from what we can gather, it's kind of a mixed fishery, and we feel there's quite a lot of F1's and that kind of fishing there. Now, Matt and Dan have both been fishing for a little while, as always, me messing about filming bits and bobs. I've not started yet, but they've been catching F1's and small carp, so that is what the sort of thought process is going to be. Now, I've started off, I've got a little hard pellet on, soft pellet on, and it's a 4mm, sort of like Van der Nine's natural style pellet, and we're fishing this mudline with. It's a little bit. It's not flat in every place, but I've found a place which is around 6 inches of the same depth. Now, and that's my first sort of thing that I'll mention on it is trying to find a bit of even keel to you know, get the fish to come into. Now, it is shallow out there. It's probably around a foot, which is very shallow, but this time of year it's warm. The fish like to be in that kind of water, and that's where we're going to start. Don't want it to be too shallow, like 6 inches shallow, although fish, as we know, will come into that kind of water. But I just feel it's a nice depth fishing on that shelf, and like I say, we've found a little bit of a 6-inch bit where we can feed comfortably and fish on, and that's where we are currently. Now, I've not fished directly onto the far bank. I've come off maybe 2 or 3 inches just to find that level flat bit, so it's good to either put a bit of tape as a marker, or I've got my section in line with my roost at the side of me, and that is the depth, the distance that when we'll be fishing. Now, I've got a couple of different baits. What like I said, is a soft natural 4mm. I've got a red version of that as well, and I've also got corn with me. They're the 3 baits that I'm going to go with. If I feel it's too hard, or I'm missing bites, or I'm messing about with a pellet, I may put an uplink on with a 4mm hard pellet. But at the moment, we're just going to brave it and go through. I've only just fed it. Like I said, I have no idea what to expect. Well guys, the first fish, not the ideal target to start off with, but a fish is a fish. Nice little roach. I put a piece of corn on there, thinking that would deter the little ones, but it didn't. I dare say the carpies will be here soon. Nice looking fish though, and in absolute pristine condition, hooked perfectly in the top lip, swing back. Absolute pristine condition. We're still going to go with the old corn, so I think a little bit of persistence with fishing, it'll weed out those fish that we want. I'm not filling loads of bait in. So what happens when you fish anything where you're fishing up to like a feature at this time of year, if you put too much bait in, you'll have too many fish, and all you'll do is foul hook them now, and you definitely don't want to be foul hooking them. That is not what we want to do. And it does say that on the website that there's carp up to £20 in here, and I've no reason to doubt that there's not £20 carp in here, but I feel that there's going to be a lot of sort of the smaller F1's and little small carp and things like that. There we go. Something a little bit better on the corn. Be a little F1, I think. Oh, lovely F1. Lovely F1. I think I've put the right net on today. Beautiful, live little F1, perfectly hooked the side of the mouth, and hopefully we're going to have a few like that today. I mean, if we're catching them, that's the idea of really today's video, is these kind of fish and getting them queued up effectively so then you can catch them quickly. So like I said, you do feel encouraged sometimes when you do catch fish regularly to want to dump a lot of bait in. You must sit on your hands. There's very rarely a situation when you're fishing up to a mudline that you need to pile a load of bait in. The only difference I would say there is if you're fishing shallow into it and you're firing pellets into it, and obviously slapping into it, that's really the only difference for me, that you would heavily feed that. There'd be no, because that's going to be undercut, so even when you're fishing super tight to it, there's going to be probably 6 to 8 inches, I would say, of undercut there. So follow the same process as before. What we're going to do is just put in that pellet by turning over the pot, find your marker and just lower that rig back into it. And we went with a corn there. If you can get them on corn, I prefer them on corn, because once you strike it stays on and you rarely have to change it, unless you sort of bump a fish. So there we go, into another one. See, you can get them queued up nicely when you feed properly. Have you noticed we're obviously into sort of second fishing in 2 drops, but we're not having to overfeed. The only downside on this peg is we've got a double break behind us, so otherwise if we don't double break we're into the pond at the other side. And it's a lovely little session just catching these small carp and F1s, and this is almost like a little small ghosted F1 is this one. It's quite an unusual one, this one. And again, just if you're getting it right, it's going to be in that top lip, and that's what we're getting him. It's like a ghosted F1. I've never seen that before. Ghosted F1. Really nice. Lovely little fish, that. Let's get back out there, and then we'll come closer a little bit, and we'll have a little chat about the rig and the feeding, and in a little bit more detail. But seems to be corn's doing the trick. So, like I said to you, if I can prefer to catch on corn, just because it's a bit of a more stable bait, and it is quite a visual bait as well, corn. And again, not going mad, just half filling that pot. Just a gentle little press. They are very good, these Revolution baits. I must say, they're very, very, very strong in flavour, and it just seems to bring in fish really quickly. And I'm not saying if you just put normal micros on that you wouldn't catch, because you would. But what I've found is that they just seem to attract fish very quickly. So follow the same scenario. Shove that a little bit further out. Turn over the pot. Gently lower that rigging on the marker. And the marker's important because the depth's all over the place out there, and that is really essential to what I'm saying, to not foul hook them. And you will probably still get the odd foul hook, but we've found that area that's at that depth, that's that distance away from the island, and you need to hit that mark to be able to consistently get fish. Now there's a couple of silvers there. These bites were going straight under. These at silver, little silver fish attacking it on way down. Go again. Well, that feels a little bit heavier, that one. That feels like a snag, does that? That's what that feels like. Oh no, boys. I thought it were a fish, it were a bite. But it is a fish. That was weird, wasn't it? That was proper weird, boys. I thought there that we were snagged, unless it had swum under a snag. It just really felt weird. It's another F1. That was very bizarre. But he's in the net regardless, and we're not snagged, which is also a positive. And let's just see if it maintains what we've been saying in regards to where we're hooking him. So picking him up, he's not hooked in the lip that time, but like I said, a bit of a bizarre bite. I was getting a couple of weird bites first off littler fish, so maybe that just wanted it and guzzled it. Come on, up we go. I know I just said it, but we'll drop one more time. We'll drop one more time, boys, and then we'll have a look at the rig. Just double check the hook bait. Still in good nick, but just nick it back on that corner. And again, just a small amount of bait. For this year, it is a small amount of bait, but it's all about not overfeeding, as we've been saying. Keep saying it, but it's important. It's so easy in the summer to just throw a load of bait in. It's so easy. And I'm not saying that sometimes that throwing a load of bait in it isn't what it needs. You know, if fishing down an edge or close in sometimes, and it's end of the day. Sometimes a bit of bait as they think that anglers are packing up can do the trick. Just drop that in there and back onto that point. Bang on, ready to go. And we are getting pestered by a few littler fish just coming up and trying to peck on the old sweet corn, but when the F1's take it, they take it, and we're on. So sometimes you just got to ride them out. There we go. Oh, must have just nicked him, that one. Not going to put any feed out there, we'll just put another corn on. Find that spot again. Oh, that one weren't a definite bite, boys. No need for the old strike on that one. And this is another thing, when you are fishing shallow water, even though you are fishing in the deck, on the deck, you will get times when, like that, a fish will just take the bait and swim out of the peg, just like you were shallow fishing. It's easy, you shouldn't have to strike. Another lovely F1. And I must say, I'm super impressed already with this new nitro landing net handle. It's so nice. Super light. And this one has let go of the hook. Even better. Right, boys, let's get him back in and we'll have a little bit of a close-up look at the rig and what we're doing. And we can get back out and have a few more. Right guys, you join me on the seat and we're going to have a little look at the rig this out. So firstly, F1 kits. Now F1 kits revolutionised F1 fishing, shallow fishing, and fishing where it needs to be, tight, stiff and up to things. They're just a great one-piece kit, shorter, it gets the fish to come up closer to you, takes less elastic. They're just a fantastic bit of kit, and if you haven't got one in your setup, and you can get one for the pole that you have, I recommend saving up for 1 or 2 of them and getting them in. Now, the second part of it is completely up to personal opinion. This is a cloud kit, so it's effectively a grey colour, like if the fish were looking up and seeing the clouds. Can get them in a black. Does it make a difference, cloud or black? It's just whatever makes you feel comfortable. I like them in the cloud kits, but I'm not desperate for them in that. But if I could, I would always get the cloud kits. Not particularly any other than I just like the colour of them, and I feel it does have a little bit of an advantage. Nothing major, but that like I said, it'll be a debate till the end of time. Well, that one. The elastic itself is a Preston Jura Hollow purple, which is about a 10 to 12, I believe, which is great for F1 fishing. These ones might be a little bit heavy, but again, we don't know what's in here. We don't know how big they go up to, and I've got a lily pad to my right, or the left in this case, facing this way around, and I don't want to risk losing anything in there, so just a little bit more heavier. So little Preston cad pots, love these. Got them in various different sizes. They are great. Cad pots in general, again, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy Preston ones because every manufacturer does them. I've got some in various different sizes that are different to the one that I've got on right now. You know, various different shapes and sizes. They come with like little different tops on. Little grids depending on how you're feeding. They're just great from any manufacturer. Everybody's got them down pretty good now. They're definitely worth it. They're accurate, it makes it easy to feed, and they're just great. I like the Preston ones. They slip on really easy, and the big ones are great when you're just fishing a top kit and you want to feed without getting your cupping kit out. So the rig itself is 015 reflow power. It's around, the actual depth is probably just about, it's just over a foot, I would have said, maybe 13-14 inches, and we've got a couple of number 11 stots just under the float, and one about 1.5 inches from the hook. Now the float itself is a 4x10's Dibber Preston Innovation. I love these, and they're really stable. The line goes through the body and comes out the top. It makes it very direct, and it's just a lovely float. I've got a back shot of number 11 around 3 inches away from the top of that float as well. Sorry about that. Just again, I've got a little slight breeze, cross breeze. It allows me to keep it in place and keep tension on it. The hook link is a 4-inch hook link, and the hook I've got is 013 to a 16 XSHB. I always get that struggle with that. Yeah, so if you didn't get that, again, it's an XSHB 16 to a 013. And again, it's a nice little hook. It's great for corn, it's great for hookable pellets. It is a pre-tied. I do tie 99.9% of my rigs, but for stuff like this, I do like those little hooks, and if they're pre-tied, they can sit in my box. It's easy, in it sometimes. If you've never seen one of these boxes, it's a little maglock box. It means that you can buy these individually, and with the hooks on like this one, when it's empty, you can discard it, change about with whatever different size hook links or hooks. I've got 14s to 17 here, I've got 18s to 011, I've got 20s to 010, 14s to 013, 16s to 011, so that you can really change it up. And if you want to get ones with bands or quick stops on, you can do that as well. I think they're about £3 quid-ish for 10 hooks, or 8 hooks. 8 hooks it is, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's 8 hooks. So if you struggle and you're struggling tying, these Preston ones, for me, and in my opinion again, are some of the better ones that I've used over time. I don't really have any problems with any hooks coming off, and you know, they've just been great. Again, we talked about this a little bit on one of my other videos in attachments. It's becoming a fad now. I've noticed a lot of videos, a lot of people started fishing like this. There's some anglers that have been doing it a long time. I know Angler Finley used to shove a swivel into the end of his hollow and tie it with a bit of cotton, so which is a derivative of this setup really. And effectively it's no Dacron connector, so save your money on Dacron connectors. It's a Preston bead, can use any bead that you want, and that basically the flat part sits against the top kit, which is obviously the best way for it. Then you pull out your elastic. I go with a crow's foot. Again, if you just want to tie a normal granny knot or anything more elaborate than that, you can do. Effectively, the line that you would loop over your Dacron loops behind that and pulls against it, and then you slide the bead up to it, and there you go, you're sorted. And that's really as simple as it needs to be. It's great for shallow fishing. I use it for all my fishing now, to be honest, and the reason I started doing it was when I had my bigger elastics. It can be a bit of a ball ache putting your Dacrons on, and getting, you know, into the bead and stuff like that, so I felt that I was getting a better direct connection doing it that way, and I've just migrated that to all my rest of my stuff. So like I said, we've got hookable pellets. I'm going to put a corn on because that's what we've been catching on, and what I tend to do is hook it right through the corner and just roll it on, so it's only just hooked on there, but I find that the best way to hook it. Now in regards to feeding, Van den Eyns, I've used them since the dawn of time. They are great. The jelly pellets, these ones are naturals, 4 mils in a normal natural colour. I've got them in the reds, in the krill, which additionally if I need to use I will do. Now in regards to feed, Revolution baits, superb, ready to mix, ready to go pellets. Squeeze them together, they can go on your feeder. I've done a little bit of a video on them before. We're going to use them as feed today. I've got the F1 Sweet and the betaine ones mixed together. It's doing the business today. And in regards to the pot itself, all we've been doing is sort of about half a pot and no more than that. And then I've just been gently pushing it in, and as we lowered that into the water, it's pushed in, you sink it into your water and it'll come out and drop straight onto where you're fishing. So that's the theory behind it, that's the rig itself. It's a lovely little rig, it works really well in this shallow water. Like I say, I've got that little dropper about 2 inch away, and that tries to pin that down a little bit and keep it tight, and so with the fish coming in and out. It's direct and it's stopping me from getting those foul hookers at the moment. If I feel I'm getting, if it's moving about too much and I'm getting more foul hookers, then I may move that shot a little bit further down as well. But at the moment it's just, you know, it's bob on. And that's it, guys. I think for me really, spending the time plumbing up and getting that right first is the most important. The plumbing up part, we've plumbed across using a flat, and this is another thing, using a flat plummet. So you can get loads of bell plummets and all sorts of stuff like this. I like to use these Guru plummets. I don't know if you've ever seen them before. This is quite an heavy one as well, it's a 50 grammer, but it's really flat and it's almost a 10p piece size, and it's really good at just finding that consistent flat floor when you're out there. When some of the smaller plummets can bumble about a bit, but I find that they sit great and it gives you a really accurate rig when you are plumbing up. So maybe that's something for you to invest in as the pen, well, only a quid or so out there, so maybe that's something you have a little look at. But plumbing up, spend the time doing that first and you'll have better results. So what we'll do is we'll flick back onto main camera and see if they're still out there.
Don't get about Berkwood. Take the money.
Right guys, into another one. That was a great bite, that one. This little dibber, so sensitive that those little littlest of bites. Where's he going here? Where's he going, lads? Pulling back a bit, this one. Definitely pulling back a little bit more. Oh, he's not massive. Let's get that straight. He's tiny, but he's got some fight in him. He's got some fight in him, boys. And he's hooked beautifully in that top lip. Again, beautiful, lovely. Look at the quality of them. They're just stunning. And you know, you're not catching £15 carp constantly like you do on 18 and stuff like that, but sometimes it's just enjoying your session in it. Catching F1's, I like catching F1's, and I think they're not micro F1's. They're not massive, granted, but they're not micro either. So again, we follow that process, pack down that bit of micros. It's just like every element of fishing that you do, it's just following that process. It feels like I sold quite a bit of gear, guys, and I've removed a few bits of stuff round, and you know, I like to try new stuff. You obviously got the new pole, and I've just got some new just dipped that on there. We've got the new pole. We've got some new rollers, got a new bag, got a new landing handle, and a lot of you guys say to me about swapping and changing gear. Now, I'll say it a million times. The reason we swap gear is, you know, we're a group that does fishing stuff and, you know, fish a lot, so you've got to be able to turn things over and have things for people to see. The other thing is, a lot of people, and I still get it now, some people are, oh, you're a millionaire, you're this, you're that. No, I'm not. I'm far from a millionaire. What you do is be sensible. Stay within your budgets, and if you've got stuff, sell stuff and then swap it for what you want to get. You'll always have to put a bit of money in it, but you have some people that watch the videos think that I've got 5 sets of gear. That's not the case. You obviously sell what you've got and then get something else. And what I'm trying to do at the moment, like a lot of the time I do have like the top of the range boxes and, you know, and stuff like that, and I do like to try out different things. But what I've tried to do lately is try and have a blend of stuff. So, you know, I've got a pole that's 1,500 quid, which you could really call middle of the road, really, even though it's 1,500 quid's a lot of money to people. Oh, came off that one. You know, 1,500 quid is a lot of money to people, but you know, nowadays, realistically, unless you're getting a margin pole, it is sort of like the mid-range pole. The landing net handle, again, not. I always have flagship landing net handles. I'm trying a little bit of intermediate. The box, I always have flagship boxes. I'm trying an intermediate. I go through different stages. When I see stuff that I like, you know, the Daiwa Air Z Pro AGS rod and TDR, I sold that recently. You know, I've had it, I've enjoyed it. Someone else needs to give it its proper going, and then I've gone for I've got the nitro set up, and I'll look at maybe a different rod in the future, and you know, I'll look at a flagship box maybe in a year's time, or 6 months time, who knows. But at the moment, there's nothing that I want to get. I've had the Preston Absolute, and I know they've changed stuff on it, and I'm not saying that I won't get it, or I won't get a version of it, but at the moment I'm happy with what I've got. Sometimes that's what you have to do. You swap and change it if you can do it, and you've got the money to do it, then do it. but with it being the group, I will swap a lot more than a normal person may do. Nice little swirl behind it, still there. Lovely bite again there. If you notice, guys, when we're shipping back in, we're just using short line especially, everything's kept low, and that's really important when you're fishing with a shallow rig on as much as you possibly can to hold that low, and it stops. Look at that, it's perfect, unhooked. It stops fish from bumping as easy. If you're lifting them out of water when you get in them and they're shallow, it's not good. Back it goes. What we'll try and do is we'll try and have another one for camera, and we can hopefully finish this video and you'll have got a bit of good information. So again, we find a nice piece of corn, just a medium sized piece for me, unless I'm edge fishing for carp. Again, push that down. And it's easier, guys, if you can obviously get a full pole behind you, but I'm literally have a tree and then a pond, part of the pond behind me, so can't do that. Lovely and calm now. There we go. And they do go on the first little beds, these some little F1's, they do. When you first hook them, they are angry. They're just so good, these little F1 kits, they really are. Just perfect, this kind of fishing. And again, look at that, it just shows you about keeping the tension on. And again, it's another absolutely fin perfect F1, absolutely fin perfect. So guys, hopefully this has helped you out a little bit. It's a real important part of fishing, mudline fishing. There's loads of snake lake venues, island venues and things like that that you can reach with a pole, and it's, you know, feeding for me is the getting a rig right, but feeding and plumbing up, they're the three biggest things to get it right. And you master those, and you get your bait right on the day, and you can have some absolutely incredible weights. Places like Partridge and things like that, stuffed full of F1's, just unbelievable. So hopefully you've got a little bit out of it, and it's been a good watch for you. Definitely come down and give this venue a try. It's yeah, it's pretty good, to be fair. Like I say, we've not bumped into anything big, but at the moment we're just enjoying a nice day of F1 fishing. So join us in the Facebook group at Angling For You if you want to join on and ask any questions, put on your photos, pictures of what you're doing. If you want to join on the members days, things like that. If you want to just look at photos, it's angling_for_you on Instagram, or if you just want to look through the playlist at Angling For You YouTube and see what you'd like to watch, then that's also absolutely superb. If you can like, share and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Join the Angling For You family, and until the next one guys, thank you very much for watching. Tailends.